They buried her cousin last December. A funeral with white lace, loud tears, and whispered secrets. But 3 months later, in the middle of Balogun Market, she saw her. It started with a smile, a small one, half hidden behind the edge of a blue geel beneath the Lagos sun in the middle of Balogun's endless chaos. Ada froze. The smile belonged to someone who shouldn't exist. Standing by a stall that sold Ankara wrappers and cheap jewelry was Chisholm, her cousin. Her dead cousin, the one she killed. December had been madness, heat, traffic, rice with too much oil, and jealousy that boiled like palm oil left too long on fire. Chisholm came back from abroad, flaunting everything. A new husband, rich and quiet, a wedding ring that sparkled like sin, and a smile that made Ada feel invisible. They were the same age, grew up like sisters, but Chisholm was always one step ahead, the prettier one, the luckier one, the one people wanted to be. That night, after the family Christmas party had happened, a fight near the back gate, heated words about money, marriage, and who deserved what. Ada didn't mean to push her, not that hard, but the way Chisholm's head hit the pavement, the silence. She had buried the body with help, paid someone off, lied through her teeth, faked the tears, and it worked until Balogun. The first time she saw the woman, Ada thought maybe she was hallucinating. Lagos heat can mess with your head. But the second time, same face, same voice, same laugh. Chisholm, buying peppers like she never bled out in a dusty backyard. Ada followed her heart, hammering like a talking drum. She pushed past traders, ignored hawkers, and nearly got hit by a kiki. But the woman vanished into a crowd near the cosmetics section, gone. That night, Ada couldn't sleep. She locked her door, double-checked her windows. She even searched, "Can a ghost enter Balogun Market?" on Google. Her husband, Tunde, asked if she was okay. She said yes. She lied again. Ada returned to Balogun, alone. She waited by the same corner where she saw her. Hours passed, no sign. She bought plantain chips just to blend in, then a flash of white lace. Chisholm again, this time by the shoe stalls, carrying a leather handbag with golden buckles, the exact one she wore the night she died. Ada called out, "Chisholm!" The woman turned and smiled. It was the same smile from that night, but then she said, "Sorry, do I know you?" The voice was so familiar, too familiar. Ada felt like she was going insane. Was this a twin? A doppelganger? A trick? Or had Chisholm survived and was now playing some sick game? The next day, Ada told her best friend Amaka what she saw. Amaka stared in silence, then asked slowly, "You said you pushed her, but are you sure she died?" "I buried her, Amaka." "No, you paid someone to bury a body. Did you see her dead?" Ada blinked. Her memory skipped. She remembered the fall. She remembered the blood. She remembered running, but she never checked for a pulse. Never confirmed anything. It was fear. Pure fear. Ada got closer. She followed Chisholm into a side street off the market, near a small chapel and some old warehouses. This wasn't a busy street. This wasn't somewhere people just went. Why was she here? Ada crouched behind a parked danfo, peeking. Chisholm, or whoever she was, entered a warehouse with faded red paint. The door creaked shut. 5 minutes. 10. Then, a man stepped out. Tunde, Ada's husband, holding hands with her dead cousin. Ada didn't move. She couldn't. Her legs were jelly, her throat dry, her mind chaos. She had seen 2 ghosts today. One was her cousin Chisholm, who was supposed to be 6 feet under. The second was her husband holding the hand of that ghost like it was nothing, like he'd done it before. Tunde with Chisom? No. This had to be something else. Maybe this wasn't Chisom. Maybe this was a look-alike. Maybe Tunde was helping her out of pity. Maybe it was all innocent, right? But then, Tunde leaned in and kissed her. Not a peck, a kiss. A slow, familiar, dangerous kiss. The kind he hadn't given Ada in months. Ada didn't remember walking away. 1 second she was behind the danfo. The next she was outside the market, hyperventilating. Voices around her were muffled women haggling over lace, conductors shouting, "Obalende!" a preacher with a megaphone yelling about hellfire. But all she could hear was, "Tunde kissed Chisom, and Chisom is alive." She didn't go home that night. Instead, she sat in a small buka in Mushin, staring into a bowl of pepper soup that had long gone cold. Her phone buzzed missed calls from Tunde. Over 12. She switched it off. Was this what guilt felt like? Or was this betrayal tasting like iron on her tongue? She had killed for Tunde, or at least she thought she had, and now he was kissing the same woman she envied. By morning she had made a plan. She went back to Balogun, dressed differently, tied her scarf like the Igbo mamas, wore oversized shades. She had to follow Chisom again, get proof, something real, something that explained this madness, and she did this time. She wasn't spotted. She tailed them Chisom and Tunde all the way to a guest house in Yaba Room 108. Ada waited for hours, watching. She didn't blink. She didn't eat. She just sat on a plastic chair at the Mama Put joint across the street, her eyes fixed on the brown gate. When they came, out, she saw it, the ring on Chisom's finger, Tunde's ring, her ring. Ada remembered it perfectly, gold with a small blue sapphire. Tunde had promised her it was unique. No one else in the world has this exact ring, he'd said, yet there it was, on Chisom's hand. That night, Ada went home. Tunde was already inside, sitting on the bed, acting like everything was fine. She walked past him, into the bathroom, shut the door, and screamed, silently, not because of fear, but because she now knew Chisom didn't survive. And the woman in Balogun wasn't just a look-alike, she was a replacement. The next day, Ada went to the man who had helped her last December, the one who handled problems for money. He was sitting in his shop, sharpening a long knife and whistling. "I need information," she said. "No killing," she added. "Not yet." He looked up, smiling like the devil. "What kind of information?" "I want to know who's pretending to be my dead cousin, and why my husband is helping her." The man laughed, then said something that made Ada's blood go cold. "You're not the first to ask." Ada stiffened. Her palms grew cold. "What did you just say?" she asked slowly. The man known on the streets as Baba Tega leaned back on his plastic stool, knife still in hand. "I said," he repeated, grinning. "You're not the first person who came asking about her. That woman, your dead cousin, someone else was here last week too. Paid me well. Told me to find out who she really is. Left no name." Ada's breath caught. "Man or woman?" "Woman," he said. "With a scar above her eyebrow. Looked like she's been through war." Ada knew that scar. It belonged to Ujunwa Chisom's old roommate from university. They hadn't spoken in years, but Ada remembered the day Chisom beat her bloody during a school fight over a stolen phone. They were close until they weren't. What was Ujunwa doing in Lagos? Why was she investigating Chisom too? Ada felt something tighten in her chest. What if this wasn't just jealousy anymore? What if she had walked into something deeper? She left Baba Tega's place with one sentence echoing in her head. "You're not the first." The words followed her all the way home, all through her bath, Even when she lay beside Tunde in bed, pretending to sleep, pretending not to notice the faint perfume of vanilla and hibiscus on his collar, Chisholm's signature scent. The next day, Ada made her move. She waited until Tunde left the house, then quietly followed him. He took a taxi, not his usual car. A white Toyota with a scratched bumper. He didn't notice Ada's Kiki weaving through traffic behind him. Destination, Ila Samaja, a quiet compound with high gates and a noisy generator humming in the background. Tunde got out, walked in, no keys, just knocked twice. The gate opened, and there she was again, Chisholm, or whatever her name really was. But this time, she wasn't smiling. Ada reached for her phone and took a photo, then another, then zoomed in on something A-mark, right behind her ear. A faded scar shaped like a K. Ada froze. Not Chisholm. Kambili. The twin Chisholm claimed had died at birth. The twin nobody ever met. The one their auntie once whispered about during an overnight vigil drunk on prayer and palm wine. The family secret. The one buried long ago. Ada's heart raced. She didn't know whether to scream or cry or vomit. She had killed Chisholm, but this wasn't her. This was Kambili, her ghost twin, the buried truth, alive, and somehow she had taken Ada's place. But why? And why was Tunde helping her? What did they want? Was this revenge, a con, or something worse? That night, Ada texted Amaka to meet her at a bar in Surulere. Amaka arrived wearing a big hoodie and carrying pepper spray, just in case. Ada showed her the photos, the scar, the ring, the kiss. Amaka listened in silence, then said, "You need to talk to Ujunwa, now, before they come for you." "Why would they come for me?" Ada asked. Amaka looked away, then muttered, "Because you didn't kill Chisholm like you think you did." Ada blinked. "What?" "Ujunwa sent me a message yesterday," Amaka whispered. "She said she found something in the autopsy report." Ada's hands trembled. "Chisholm didn't die from the fall, Ada. She died 24 hours after that night." Ada's mouth went dry. "What do you mean she died 24 hours after?" Her voice cracked like a glass under pressure. Amaka leaned in, her voice barely above a whisper. "Ujunwa got her hands on a copy of the autopsy report. She paid someone at the coroner's office." Then slowly, "It says Chisholm had blunt force trauma, but that wasn't what killed her. The real cause of death was," she paused, "poison." Ada's world tilted. Poison. That wasn't possible. She hit her head. She was bleeding. "I saw it," Ada insisted. "I left her there. I called Baba Tega to fix it." Amaka nodded. "But the report says she was alive for hours after that. Someone gave her something later, something that stopped her heart." Ada's hands were trembling so hard she almost dropped her drink. She stared at the glass. It looked exactly like the one she held the night it all began. Christmas, jealousy, the push, the body. But now a question sat heavy in her chest. If I didn't kill her, who did? That night Ada couldn't go home. She went to a cheap lodge near Ojuelegba, locked the door, and sat in the dark, scrolling through her gallery, looking at every picture she had with Chisholm. In one of them of photos taken a week before the incident, something new jumped out at her. Tunde, in the background, standing by the kitchen and looking at Chisholm, not just looking, watching her. With a hunger in his eyes Ada had never noticed. Before, she called Ujunwa. To her surprise, the number rang. "Hello?" The voice was rough. "Ujunwa, it's Ada." Silence. Then, "You shouldn't have called me. I need to know what you found." More silence. Then Ujunwa said, "Meet me tomorrow. 9 a.m. ShopRite. Ikeja Mall. We can't talk over the phone. They might be listening." She hung up. Ada sat frozen, staring into the dark. They? Who was they? The next morning, Ada arrived early. Sat at a corner table by the food court facing the escalator. 9 was a.m. past. 9:10, 9:15, no sign of Ujunwa. 30. A waitress walked up to her with a note. "Someone said to give you this," the waitress said. Ada opened the folded paper. It was hurriedly written, "Do not go home. They know you know." "Meet me at the back of the old cinema. Come alone." Ada's heart nearly stopped. She rushed out, eyes darting around. Paranoia gripped her like cold iron. She took a cab to the old cinema, an abandoned building now crawling with weeds and ghosts of forgotten films. Ujunwa was already there, leaning on the wall, pale, sweating. "Ada, listen to me carefully. You were never supposed to see her at Balogun." "What is she?" Ada asked. "She looks like Chisholm. She acts like Chisholm, but she's not. She's something else." Ujunwa looked around, lowered her voice. "I've been following her. She doesn't sleep in the same place twice. She meets with different men. Sometimes she goes by Kambili, sometimes by Chisholm. But recently, I heard her say a name. Mara." Ada frowned. "Mara?" "It's a code, or a name given to her by someone. She's not just a person, she's a plant, a setup, sent to destroy something. Maybe you, maybe someone else. But it all started before December." "What are you talking about?" Ada whispered. "I think Chisholm found something out before she died, something dangerous. And Mara, or Kambili, whatever she is, was sent to silence her. But you..." Ujunwa turned to her, eyes wild. "You got in the way." Ada felt the ground shift again. "So I didn't kill Chisholm. You pushed her." "Yes, but she survived. Someone came back for her later and finished the job. My guess? Your husband." "No." "Yes," Ujunwa insisted. "She was about to expose something. Something about a money trail, fake contracts, ghost accounts. Tunde's name was in it. Chisholm found the documents." Ada staggered back. That night, the argument. Chisholm had mentioned dirty money, said something about protecting the family name. Ada thought it was pride, but now she looked up. Ujunwa was staring behind her, eyes wide, face pale. "Ada," she said, "don't move." Ada turned. A dark figure stood in the shadows, clapping. "Very impressive," the voice said. Smooth, male. A voice she knew. Tunde. Ada's breath caught. Tunde stepped out of the shadows like a scene from a horror film. Except this wasn't a movie, and the villain was wearing her husband's face. "Ujunwa," he said smoothly. "You just couldn't let it go, could you?" Ujunwa reached into her purse. Ada noticed her fingers trembling. "Don't bother," Tunde said, raising his hand. "There's a gun pointed at both of you, not by me." Behind them, someone cocked a weapon. A soft metallic click. Ada turned slowly. Chisholm, or was it Kambili, or was it Mara? She stood there in a black dress, eyes void of expression. No makeup, no smile, no pretense, just a cold, calculating calm, and a pistol in her hand. "Why?" Ada whispered. "What do you want from me?" Mara smiled. It was terrifying. "Wanted your silence," she said. "And for a while, you gave it freely. But then you got nosy." She stepped closer. "The plan was simple. Chisholm got curious. She dug too deep. She found numbers, accounts, things that were meant to stay buried. So we did what had to be done. She was a threat." Ada's mouth went dry. "So you killed her?" "No," Mara said. "Tunde did." Ada turned to her husband, but he looked relieved, like a man who had just taken off a mask he'd worn too long. "She was going to ruin everything," he said. "Our investments, the offshore accounts. She found the trail and was ready to leak it. You think I built this life from scratch? Ada, I inherited it. Through precision, through calculated losses. Chisholm, Ada realized, was just one of those losses. And me? Ada asked, voice shaking. Was I a loss too? Tunde walked toward her slowly. No. You were useful. But you got too emotional and now you're a liability. Ujungwa, now pale and sweating, looked between them. She muttered something. In Igbo under her breath. Ada barely caught it. But it was a prayer, a final one. Then without warning she charged at Mara. Gunshot, screams, dust, chaos. Ada hit the ground hard. Her ears rang. She couldn't see clearly. One figure slumped to the floor. Another stumbled back. And in the haze, someone grabbed her hand. It was Mara, dragging her, running. Come with me if you want to live, she hissed. Ada couldn't believe. It, the same woman who threatened her life just minutes ago, was now saving it? They burst through the back exit of the cinema, down a narrow alleyway. Motorcycles zoomed past. Vendors stared. Mara, what are you doing? Ada shouted. But Mara didn't answer. Not yet. They reached a hidden garage. Inside was an old blue Camry. Mara opened the door and threw her inside. Then she said it. They lied to me too, Ada. I thought you killed Chisholm, that you were the problem. But the real monster is the one you married. Ada blinked, her ears still ringing, tears threatened to spill. So why help me now? Mara pulled off her wig. Her natural hair, braided tightly, glistened with sweat. Because I've played the role of the villain long enough, she whispered. But I remember who I am now. She looked straight into Ada's eyes. My name is not Mara. It's Kambili, and Chisom was my sister. Ada stared at her. No, she breathed. That's not possible. Chisom never had a sister. A twin, maybe. But she said your mother said you died at birth. Kambili looked away, her jaw tight. I wish I had. The air in the car grew heavy. Outside, Lagos thundered with its usual noise, sirens in the distance, hawkers shouting, life carrying on like nothing had shattered. But inside that car, time stopped. Kambili took a breath, then began. I was born 5 minutes after Chisom, but I wasn't breathing. They thought I was dead. The nurse wrapped me up and set me aside, but a cleaner saw my fingers twitching. They saved me, secretly. She paused. My father didn't want twins, said it was a bad omen. So they gave me away to a family far from Anambra. I was raised in silence. No pictures, no records, just shadows. Ada's hands trembled. All my life, Kambili continued. I knew. Something was missing. I felt her. I used to dream of her face before I even knew her name. She looked at Ada. Then last year I saw her photo, online, and I knew. Ada's voice cracked. So, you came back for her? No, Kambili said. I came back to meet her. I tracked her down, followed her, watched her. I was scared. How do you walk up to someone and say, Hi, I'm the sister they buried while you were still crying? Ada's tears finally fell. She had killed this woman's sister, or at least she thought she had. Kambili continued, but I was too late. The day I decided to finally speak to her, I followed her to the house. I was there. I saw you two fight. Ada's eyes widened. You saw? Yes, from behind the fence. I saw you push her, saw her hit her head. I ran in after you. Left. She was breathing, but barely. I tried to wake her. I held her hand. Kambili paused. That's when he arrived. Tunde, Ada whispered. Kambili nodded. He stepped out of the shadows like a ghost. No panic, no surprise, just calm. He said, You must be the other one. I didn't understand. Then he dragged me aside, called someone on the phone. He told me to stay quiet, or I'd end up beside her. Ada's stomach twisted. This wasn't just murder. This was a cover-up that went deeper than anyone imagined. Kambili looked straight ahead now, hands tight on the steering wheel. He made a deal with me. Said if I kept quiet, I could take her place. Said I looked just like her. He needed me to pose, to calm the rumors, to inherit some properties, sign a few papers, smile at the right events. Ada whispered. So you pretended to be her. I had no choice. He said I'd die if I didn't, but I didn't know. I didn't know what he really did until I saw her death certificate, dated 24 hours after you pushed her. Ada stared into nothing. And now? She asked. Why are you helping me now? Kambili looked at her, eyes softer this time. Because I saw the way he looked at you. He doesn't love you, Ada. He's keeping you around because you know enough to burn his empire. He planned to erase you next. Ada's head throbbed with memory. The missing ring, the lies, the way he watched her while she slept. A knock on the window startled them both. Kambili reached for the glove box, a small knife. Not a gun too loud, but it was a woman, middle-aged, headscarf, dusty wrapper. Ada, she asked, are you Ada Madhu? Ada's heart raced. Yes? The woman slipped a note into her hand and walked away. No explanation, no name. Ada opened it. It read, I know what happened to Chisholm, and I know who's still watching you. Come to 13 Olonade Street. Come alone. Kambili peered over her shoulder. That's Yaba, she said. Ada looked up. We're going. As they drove off, a black Prado jeep slowly pulled out of a nearby alley. Inside, Tunde sat in silence. Beside him, a man in a foreign suit whispered into a headset. They're moving. Should we intercept? Tunde smiled coldly. No, let them. Run. He pulled out a small object from his pocket. A gold necklace. Chisholm's necklace, still stained with blood. The rain started as they reached Yaba. Not the usual light Lagos drizzle, this one felt personal, like the sky was trying to wash away secrets. Kambili parked 2 streets away from 13 Olonade. They walked the rest of the way, hoods up, silent. Both women carried ghosts in their shadows now. The house looked abandoned, flaking paint, a broken window, but the light was on. Ada hesitated. Kambili looked at her. If this is a trap, she said, we don't go down quietly. Ada nodded. They stepped inside. The woman from earlier was waiting, older now, but Ada recognized her. One of Chisholm's old nannies. Her name escaped her memory. My name is Nkiru, the woman said. I raised both girls until they were torn apart. She looked at Kambili. You were never supposed to be erased. But your mother was scared. Your father made the decision. I'm so sorry. Kambili's eyes were cold. I'm not here for apologies. Nkiru nodded. Then listen closely. She poured them tea. Neither drank. Then she told them the truth. Chisholm had discovered everything. Tunde's offshore accounts, money laundered through ghost NGOs, shell companies in Ada's name, yes, Ada's name. Fake land purchases signed by Chisholm Madhu, except she never signed them. Tunde had been building an empire, using their names as shields. And when Chisholm threatened to expose it, he silenced her. But it wasn't just him. There was a network, men in government, foreign names, people who needed Chisholm gone. Kambili was supposed to replace her long enough to sign the final deals and then disappear. 2. A twin no one knew about. A body double, a pawn. And Ada, collateral damage. Kambili stood up. We need to end this, she said. I need them to know Chisholm didn't just vanish. She was murdered, and I am done hiding. Nkiru handed Ada a file. Proof, she said. Chisholm gave it to me 2 days before she died. Told me if anything happened to wait. She said you would come. Ada opened it. Bank statements, ID copies, photos, and at the bottom, a memory card. They watched it on Nkiru's old laptop. It was Chisholm, face pale, eyes serious. If you're watching this, she said, I didn't make it. But I found the truth. And I need you, whoever you are, to finish what I couldn't. Ada covered her mouth as tears poured freely. Beside her, Kambili was stone still. They took everything, the files, the footage, and went to the press. One brave journalist, an ex-military man turned whistleblower, agreed to release it. Within hours, the story exploded. Minister's son-in-law accused in billion-dollar fraud ring. Woman returns from the dead to expose murder and corruption. Photos of Chisholm and Kambili side by side went viral. The world saw what Ada never did. They weren't just sisters. They were mirrors. Tunde ran for a while. But Nigeria isn't always kind to men who cross the wrong people, especially when those people need a scapegoat. He was arrested at the airport, smiling like he had one more trick left. 2 weeks later, Kambili disappeared. No calls, no note, no warning, just gone. Ada searched, hired people, nothing, until one day, at Balogun Market, she saw her, again, by the same fabric stall, but this time she wasn't wearing black. She wore white, radiant, at peace. Ada ran toward her, but the woman turned, and it wasn't Kambili, just another face that looked too close, too familiar. That night, Ada sat in her apartment. The city outside kept moving, traffic, parties, sirens. But in her chest, silence had finally made peace. She lit a candle, opened her Bible, and played Chisholm's last video again. I don't need revenge, Chisholm had said. I just want the truth to outlive the lie. Ada smiled sadly. Rest! Now, she whispered, then closed the laptop. The past was over, but the face of her cousin, the face of her sister, the face of justice, would never be forgotten.